Ball is in the air, and we are underway this afternoon. It ends up in the hands of Corey Perkins of Delaware State. The Lancers come into play 4-4 on the season, but they've lost 3 straight, all close ones, including falling at Georgetown on Tuesday night. Delaware State trying to get things rolling. They're 2-5 so far this year under their first-year head coach, Stan Waterman. Already the shot clock on the opening possession down to 6 seconds. And getting down near the shot clock expiring. Quick shot thrown up from the corner. Off the backboard, no good. Did catch the rim. Longwood comes down with the basketball. Lancers off on the break. They want to keep the tempo up high this afternoon. And that is what they were able to find some success with on Tuesday. I'm Trey Wilson, by the way. Ryan Maddox alongside as we bring you basketball action this afternoon from Farmville.
Longwood started off excellent defensive possession, obviously not so great on the offensive end.
Able to run the shot clock all the way down, nearly expired. No sense of urgency early on from the Hornets of Delaware State. Underneath, and the ball's out of the hands of the big man, Sodom, and Longwood is off on the break and trying to get the alley-oop in the air for Zach Watson, but he couldn't finish, and it's out of bounds back to Delaware State. So the first minute of the ball game, couple possessions for each team, no points on the board yet, Brian.
You see the Lancers trying to get out in transition that they did an effective job of on Tuesday night at Georgetown. They want to play a fast pace today, whereas Delaware State wants to muck the game up, make it ugly, score in the 40s or 50s.
Longwood likes to put up shots from outside. We saw that on Tuesday at Georgetown. The Lancers fired 3 straight three-pointers to open up a quick 9-0 lead against the Hoyas on Tuesday night. They have been a strong three-point shooting team, one of the best teams from outside the Big South a year ago. Shot clock again is down to 3 seconds. Shot put up, rattles out, no good from DeMarco Balcom, and an offensive rebound from Chris Sodom. And he puts it back in. Sodom, 7'3" center for Delaware State. They've got some big-time size there. Now taken away and going the other way. Layup up and in for Miles Carter, who's been the top scorer for this Delaware State team so far this year.
Granlund telegraphed that pass, connect the dot to the top of the key. As you see Miles Carter shoot the gap for an easy deuce for Delaware State.
Lancers down 4-0 in the early going this afternoon. Down underneath for Zach Watson. Justin Hill, point guard over for Granlund, who fires up a 3, and that's well off the mark. And Sodom is there for the rebound, and here's Delaware State. Ball goes down low for Balcom, backing down. Spins and tosses one up, and it is no good. But Watson's there to clean up the rebound. 17 and a half minutes to play in the first half. Here's Sodom swatting the shot away from Hill, and it's out of bounds off of Delaware State. Sodom does block some shots, as you might expect. He's 7'3". And big shot blocker for Delaware State. He picks up his first of the afternoon there.
You see Justin Hill attacking the rim. That was a point of emphasis pregame for Coach Aldrich and the staff. Be under control and play off 2 feet, looking for a teammate. Pivot out, find an open shot.
Longwood still seems like it's trying to get its feet under them in the early going of this game, about 2.5 minutes in. Into the ball game for the Lancers. Leslie and Carriewim's now on the floor. That's big for Longwood after he missed the game on Tuesday. Nearly had an offensive rebound there. It's out of bounds back to Delaware State. Leslie and Carriewim's a big spark plug off the bench for Longwood.
Absolutely, giving you 13 and about 5 rebounds a game. But more than anything, it's just that energy burst that he brings. The whole energy level of the crowd and the team goes to a 6th gear whenever he crosses the sideline.
Was unable to go in the game on Tuesday at Georgetown, but he is out there today, as he normally is, off of the bench. Basket for Delaware State, and they're out to a 6-0 lead on Longwood.
Beautiful drive there by freshman point guard Corey Perkins as the ball gets entered into Carriewim.
And Carriewim's fouled under the basket. It's on the floor. The first foul of the ball game goes against Delaware State. This is a Delaware State Hornets team that's 2-5. Both their wins so far this season have come against non-Division I teams. They've beaten Cairn University and Regent for their 2 wins, but they played their in-state rival Delaware tough earlier this week, just a couple nights ago. They fell in that game 59-48. And they're trying to pick up their first win against Division I competition this afternoon, and they've got a 6-0 lead in the early going.
That's right, massive game here for Coach Waterman and his whole program. Have not come away with a true road win since February of 2020.
Perkins looks to the elbow for Wilkins. Longwood still looking for its first points of the day. Shot up in the air from outside and off the mark. There's Sodom for the rebound. And Delaware State under first-year head coach Stan Waterman, a long-time high school coach, a high school coaching legend. In fact, earlier this week, he was honored with the John Wooden Legacy Award, the National High School Basketball Coaches Association. And he's got his Delaware State Hornets out to a 6-0 lead. Longwood looking for his first points of the day, and they've got him. A three-pointer good from Jordan Perkins.
Beautiful drive by Hill as he gets his feet wet in the paint, 2 feet for a kick out. That's the progression that Coach Aldrich is looking for, maturity from his team offensively.
That might kickstart the offense for Longwood. Cut the lead in half. It's now 6-3. Looking underneath for Sodom. Ball tipped away, and it's taken away by Wilkins. Longwood off on the break. Wilkins all by.
Is relatively soon into the MEAC. They've, it's a program that has to raise a lot of money by playing a lot of guarantee games as Longwood out of bounds ties it up here. Deshaun Wade
from the corner. And just like that, it's a 6-0 run for Longwood to even things up 6-6. Lancers do like to shoot from outside. That's where their first 6 points have come from this afternoon. Longwood has drawn out the shot clock on the defensive end so far today. Balcom looking underneath for the 7-3 Sodom and a tie-up underneath. And the possession arrow goes to the Lancers, so it's Longwood ball in the tie-up.
You notice that beautiful help side defense on the post entry from the top of the key there. Jordan Perkins, a grad transfer, 5th year in college basketball. He knows when it's coming, knows how to tie it up, Longwood ball.
And Perkins comes in with plenty of experience after spending the first part of his career at North Carolina Central, now here in Farmville with Longwood. The clock rolls down to 15 minutes to play in the first half. Here's Wade looking back up top for Nate Litteris, who just checked in. Now Perkins, and an offensive foul is called against Perkins. A turnover for the Lancers.
Believe they got in Carrium with the moving screen on that.
Take another look. And, yeah, doesn't look like he quite got set in time, would you say?
Yeah, and you know what? That's one of those calls, along with the sideline out of bounds in the deep corners, that you know they're coming every game. It's attention to detail that keeps you away from doing that. And Carrium ends up on the bench.
Miles Carter running the offense for Delaware State. Throws one up, and he bangs it home. 8-6. Hornets back in front. Carter, that's his second basket of the afternoon.
That offensive creativity we talked about in pregame. 1-2 bounces, gets just enough space to get his mid-range off.
We saw the offense up top for Longwood as the shot clock rolls down to 12 seconds, and now a whistle called against the Lancers, and a foul is called. Foul called against D.A. Houston off the ball, so a couple of offensive fouls in a row for Longwood, 2 straight possessions and away from the basketball.
Lancers do look a little discombobulated here as you see another moving screen, it looks like.
2 possessions in a row.
Wow. Nice job by Delaware State switching up from zone to man-to-man.
Looking underneath, no good, and a rebound grab by Jesper Granlund. And now Longwood takes off the other way. Granlund, shot fake, kicks back out to Hill, down to the corner, 3-ball in the air from Wade off the mark. And a ball tied up underneath. A foul is called against Delaware State. Foul called against DeMarco Balcom. I think Delaware State was arguing for a tie-up.
Just a beautiful possession here. As you see, Granlund going up for the offensive rebound. To initiate it, he got his feet wet in the paint, reverse pivot. Next one pass for a wide open 3 in the corner. Didn't go down, but it was the right shot.
Baseline inbound now for Longwood. Looking right there for the shot was Litteris, and it's off the mark. And again, the ball's kicked around into the basket. And again, Delaware State appears to be called for a foul. And on Balcom again. So he picks up 2 fouls quickly. And he'll head to the bench. 8-6, Delaware State with an early lead. First half this afternoon at Willett Hall in Farmville. Back up top to Hill. Litteris as the shot clock hits 12 seconds. Lancers haven't yet gotten the ball inside the three-point line on this try. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Wade puts up a shot, but before it, Litteris was called for a travel. And that's another turnover. So that's 3 straight trips to this end of the floor that have ultimately resulted in a turnover for Longwood.
And this is something that Longwood works on every day. You know, one hard, 2 dribbles, you know, right hand into the paint, get 2 feet, just a little hiccup there. It started with the revolution in basketball. Villanova is huge on that. So many other teams have followed suit.
Delaware State up by 2, looking to extend the lead with 13 minutes to play in the first half. For Gala, it's taken away. He does have it taken away. Hill off on the run, and he lays it in. And this game is tied up at 8. Here's the first points today for Justin Hill, the preseason all-conference, breakout freshman season last year with the Lancers. 8-8 game, rolling near the under 12 here in the first half. Now the baseline up and in, nice move. And the basket falls for Corey Perkins as he puts the lead back into the hands of Delaware State. Nearly another turnover for Longwood. Now deep 3 from Litteris, and he hits it.
We watched him all pregame, Trey. Just a beautiful release. That time it goes down to give the Lancers the 1-point lead. Over the line call here is going to give the ball back to Longwood.
So mistake for Delaware State. This is the first lead of the day for the Lancers, 11-10 over Delaware State. Nate Litteris is shooting just 27% from 3 this season. That's part of his game he's not yet seen get rolling quite consistently yet, but he knocks one down there. That's
right. You got to think it's, you know, a sophomore from a small school in Nebraska. You know, he was the man there. He's just getting his feet wet in college. He'll settle down. Nice way to start off the game here to put the Lancers on top by 1.
He had 7 points on Tuesday at Georgetown in the close loss to Longwood. Granlund loses the basketball, but Wilkins is right there to pick it up for him, and he drops it in.
What a possession. That ball is doing anything but sticking. You've got that defense in rotation side to side 3 or 4 times. An open look's going to come your way. Wilkins knocks it down.
First 2 points of the day for Isaiah Wilkins, and as is usually the case, out of the 13 points, Longwood's been spreading out the attack. Nobody's got more than 3 so far. Once again, the shot clock rolls under 10 seconds for Delaware State, and they've yet to move the ball inside the 3-point circle. 5 seconds on the shot clock now. 3-pointer tossed up and off the mark from Miles Carter, but the offensive rebound for Sodom back underneath, up and in. Carter, after the miss, ends up laying it in with the left hand. He's the leading scorer in this ball game now with 4 points, or excuse me, 6 points.
Longwood was able to switch 1 through 4 as Delaware State shoots the gap here, and you got a freshman run out.
Has it swatted. Justin Hill chased it down, but then Sodom's there to clean it up, and the second chance basket puts Delaware.
That ball ended up getting cleaned up by the gargantuan 7'3" center.
It's nice to have that size, I'm sure. And Carriwan lays it up and in, and he's got a couple points. Joins the scoring parade, and the Lancers move back in front, 15-14. Carriwan back in. He's the Lancers' leading scorer this season. Plays off the bench and did not play at all on Tuesday after being banged up against Old Dominion the previous week. 3 ball in the air from the corner is off the mark, and the rebound taken down by Jordan Perkins. He takes it back up himself. Lancers now looking to add to a 15-14 lead around the midpoint of the first half this afternoon. D.A. Houston running the offense back up top for Perkins, who's got an open look for 3, and it's left a bit short. Rebound grabbed by Sodom. Got away with the travel, took a couple steps. Home crowd saw it, but they say play on. 9:50 to play in the first half, and Delaware State has a chance to move back in front.
Lancers high hedge on that ball screen. They don't honor the hard roll from the 7'3" gargantuan like we talked about. Sodom's got to prove that he can catch the ball in space on that hard roll and finish.
Shot clock nearly expired, and he was able to get the shot off. That was Kyrie Staten who put the shot off the mark, and then heading down toward the basket. D.A. Houston gets tripped up, and he's down after that play. A foul is called. Tripping foul on Kyrie Staten.
As you watch the sophomore just put his head down and drive, trying to get into the paint. That's one thing about these Longwood guards all year, Trey. Super aggressive trying to go to the rim.
We have a shift change for Longwood here. They got 4 substitutions coming into the ball game. It's getting close to the under 8 timeout. Lancers lead by 2, looking to add to the lead. Ball inbounded to Watson. Deshaun Wade, step back just inside the three-point line, off the mark. A couple of Lancers there, neither can grab it. It ends up in the hands of Sodom, who throws it away. Back to Wade. Wade kicks back up top. And now a three-point try from Houston. Bangs off the back of the rim, no good. And the ball back to Delaware State. Fergala picks up the rebound.
Next one pass there for the Lancers is a great shot. Just couldn't get it to fall.
Delaware State seems content to slow things down. They've had a couple possessions where the shot clock's gotten down near expiring. Longwood's had that effect on a few teams this year, and Hill grabs the rebound and he gets thumped. Chris Sodom came flying in and knocked him down to the ground. The 7'3" center running into the 6-foot-tall sophomore guard for Longwood. And the foul called against the Hornets. That's the 6th team foul on Delaware State here in the first half, so Longwood will be shooting the rest of the way.
Here's the...
Oh, he got an elbow to the face.
Surprised they're not reviewing that.
Yeah, I thought they might take a look at it. They'll play on. 15-14, Lancers in front, nearing the under 8 timeout in the first half. Underneath for Watson. He's double teamed, ball swatted away. Tried to go up and it got tipped out and into the hands of Corey Perkins for Delaware State. Spinning down the lane, swatted, but a foul called. And that will send Delaware State to the line. Foul goes against D.A. Houston.
As you see the hard baseline drive here, beautiful spin back. He's going to draw himself 2 opportunities at the charity stripe here.
That sends Kyrie Staten to the line for Delaware State, the freshman out of Baltimore. So he hits the first shot to tie the score. Staten's been coming off the bench. He scored in double figures twice this season. And both of the games that he's scored in double figures, those are Delaware State's 2 wins so far on the year. Back on November 9th against Cairn University, and then on the 16th of November in the win against Regents. Misses the second, and Litteris had the rebound grab, but then it gets knocked out of bounds. It stays with the Lancers. So 15-15, 8:17 to play in the first half. Longwood started the season 4-1. They lost the opener at Iowa, then won 4 straight games. Now they head into today having lost 3 straight, Ryan, but those 3 straight games, each of them have just been a couple plays away from being wins, including what would have been a big upset in D.C. on Tuesday.
Absolutely, and they looked the part. You know, ended up going down 91-83, but competed for 40 minutes.
3 ball, good from the corner, Isaiah Wilkins. Wilkins adds 3 more points to his scoring from the day. Now got 5 on the afternoon. Leading scorer for the Lancers in this game. Longwood 18, Delaware State 15.
Delaware State's trying to drive. It's almost like handing off a defender. That's in large part why the Hornets are 0 from 4 from deep.
There have been several possessions so far this afternoon where the shot clock's gotten down under 10 and they still hadn't gotten inside the three-point circle. Well, that snaps the over stretch from outside as Dominic Fergala knocks down a 3. He's a 31% three-point shooter this season and the second leading scorer for Delaware State at 14 points a game. That's taken away by Sodom out of the hands of Wilkins. And Delaware State off on the transition, lays it up and in. They're back in front, 20-18. Hornets quick 5-point run out of the timeout. The clock rolls under 7 to play in the first half. Granlund dribbles around, looks down toward the corner, back up top, 3 ball in the air, off the mark. Wilkins couldn't get it to drop. And Delaware State has a chance to add to its lead. The Hornets jumped out to an early 6-0 lead. They've gone back and forth since then. And shot try up in the air, no good for Chris Sodom. But he's heading to the line for a couple shots. Zach Watson is called for the foul. That's his first foul this afternoon. Sodom, the 7'3" center who's transferred. He's had a bit of a journey so far in his college career. Came over to the States back in 2015. Went through a few different schools, was at Georgetown. Well, now he's landed here at Delaware State with Stan Waterman, first-year head coach. And he misses the first free throw. Sodom is, just including that shot, 1 for 5 from the free throw line this year. But on the year, he averages 4 points a game, 7 rebounds, and today he's been a presence underneath. Had a couple shot blocks on the opposite end. He goes over at the line on that trip. So Delaware State unable to push its lead any further. It's 20-18, 6.5 to play in the first half. 3 ball in the air for Perkins, well short, but right there for it is Litteris, who puts it back up and in. And this game is all squared once again, 20-20.
Beautiful inside-out three. Obviously not the result Longwood wanted, but pure grit and determination there. Offensive rebound to put back.
Take the points however you can get them, the way that the game has gone so far. And layup try, no good. Then a foul's called against Delaware State. Ball's going the other way, so that should put Longwood at the line. The 1-1.
Delaware State foul number 21, Chris Sodom.
That's the second foul against Chris Sodom, the center, so he'll take a seat possibly for the rest of the first half. Sodom only plays on average about 18 minutes a game. He's been out there for most of this first half this afternoon.
That's been the story of his season, Trey, is just foul trouble. You know, last time out against Delaware, had 11 minutes of playing time, 3 fouls. Has had another game, 17 minutes of playing time, 5 fouls.
Leslie and Carey went the line for the 1-1, left it well short. So Longwood, a little trouble from the free throw line so far this afternoon. Well, that is the first try. A miss on the first try. But the free throws were a big factor in their loss on Tuesday against Georgetown. The Hoyas got to the line a ton in the second half, and Longwood missed some of its opportunities at the stripe. Whistle and foul called against Longwood.
Did you see the freshman point guard cross over on the 5th-year senior? It looks to me like he just tripped up a little bit, but they're going to honor that aggression, and the foul was on Longwood, so the Hornets retain possession.
This also, the next foul, I guess, will put Delaware State in the bonus. 20-20 game, 5:37 to play in the first half with baseline inbound. Back up top for Fragala. Delaware State and Longwood in a tight one in the late part of the first half. Shot clock once again under 10 seconds. Fragala fires a 3 and he hits. And the Hornets go back in front, 23-20. Fragala, the second leading scorer on this team for the season. And now he's got 6 points on a couple of three-pointers this afternoon. And carry on back in the game off the bench. Backing down, Lucas underneath, fires it up, and it's off the mark, no good. Right there for the rebound is Wilkins, and he's fouled on the way up.
Grown man rebound right there by Isaiah Wilkins, earning his trip to the free throw line.
Wilkins will head to the stripe. The former player at Virginia Tech and Wake Forest has been, early in the season, first couple games, he was the Lancers' leading scorer. He had 19 points in the game against Iowa. That had dropped down in some recent games, but he had 14 points on Tuesday in the game at Georgetown. That's the first free throw. Wilkins is also an outstanding free throw shooter, coming into today shooting 80% from the stripe on the season. Now 13 out of 16 from the free throw line this year. A chance to bring Longwood back within a point. And he does. Got the roll. 1 point game, 5 minutes to play in the first half.
Lancers extend pressure here a little bit.
Further the calls of slowing down Delaware State. We'll switch up top, and now Fragala driving to the basket, tosses it up, nearly got it to drop. And Litteris is there for the rebound. Longwood on the counter. Hill, extra pass over to Wilkins, up and in, no good. And Sodom comes in and grabs the rebound. Delaware State quickly back the other way, not wasting any time, turning the court back to the other direction. Now they kick back out and reset. Fragala fires another three, and it's off the mark. Sean Wade chases the rebound. They run back the other way. Wade down the right side of the lane, lays it up, and he's fouled. Took a hand to the face. Delaware State arguing they don't agree. The foul is called on Sodom. That's his third. He came back in the game after picking up that second foul, and now he's got his third foul. But still 14-16 to play in the first half.
That's right. Coach Waterman taking a gamble there, ended up losing out on it as Deshaun Wade, 6'2", says, I don't care. I'm 13 inches shorter than you. I'm going up with this one. 2 free throws.
First shot up from Wade. And he misses. That's his first free throw miss of the season. He was 6 for 6 prior to that one. Man, this place got quiet. He drew it out and let everybody get silent before he put that shot up in the air. So he'll try to tie it with the second shot. Deshaun Wade, the senior out of Virginia Beach, former player at East Carolina. And he hits the second. So this game is even 23-23, just over 4 minutes to play in the first half. A tight one between Delaware State and Longwood. Both these teams played tight games this week. Longwood up in D.C. against Georgetown, and the Hornets on Thursday night just 2 days ago against the Lancers have fought back and tied this game up. And Ryan, all season long, it really varies from day to day who's the person who's going to be the leading scorer for Longwood. It's not like they have one guy that they go to each game, and that's kind of been the case again today. 2 players with, or pretty much everybody on the team. Wilkins has 7, but aside from that, everybody who's played pretty much got a basket at this point.
That's right, and that's what Coach Aldrich, he harps on the fact that this year's roster has more playmakers, point blank.
And there's one of them, Zach Watson, up and in, and he joins the scoring. So the Lancers have now seen points that have 8 players in this game out of the 10 who have seen the floor. They play deep, too. They've gone 10 deep in the bench this afternoon. And it's a 25-23 Longwood lead. And got the dribble down, but that's going to be a travel. So another turnover for Delaware State. We saw a lot of turnovers in the first 8 minutes or so of this game, but the teams have kind of cleaned it up over the last few possessions until that one.
They have, and I think the scouting report's starting to come into play now. That's the knock on their best player, Carter. He wants to create his own shot, but when he's guarded with a glove, he can't get it off.
Rolls in for Jordan Perkins. The Lancers have a 4-point lead. Under 3 minutes to play in the first half, 27-23 Longwood. Balcom decides to take it himself, and he knocks it down. DeMarco Balcom, the redshirt sophomore out of D.C., picks up 2 points, and it's a 2-point game once again. Gramlin drives, kicks over, and Watson saves it, keeps it in bounds. They'll reset with 15 on the shot clock. Wilkins down the left side of the lane, lays it up and in. Isaiah Wilkins scores.
Delaware State goes zone again that possession. Longwood loves to live in the high post. Isaiah Wilkins makes it happen.
A 4-point lead for the Lancers. Wilkins has 9 points, leads all scorers. Coming underneath there is Carter, gives it up back over to Fragala. Now Carter will reset, and once again, shot clock, 7 seconds. And it's tipped and blocked by Watson. Almost given back, in fact it is. Fragala finds the basketball, fires from beside the elbow, and turns a turnover into a turnover, and then drops it home for 2. 2-point game, 29-27 with 1:36 to play in the first half. Watson backing down on the block, trying to force his way up. Can't create any space, decides to go back up top for Perkins. 3-pointer from the top of the key, and he hits Isaiah Wilkins. 12 points now this afternoon. This season, picked second in the division behind Campbell. And again, they're 4-4, but a few plays away from being 6-2 or 7-1. Just trying to get things cleaned up before conference play starts in a few weeks.
They've definitely had a good start in Willett Hall. This place was rocking for 3 games in the Jerome Kersey Classic.
Shot clock down to 3. Ball in the air, off the mark, and eventually recovered by Jordan Perkins. Lancers looking for quick points. Wade goes back up top. Hill has a look for 3, and it's off the mark. Litteris comes flying in, and he hits the deck hard. Gets called for a travel. He came in to try and grab that rebound.
You know, that's one of those turnovers that'll show up on the stat sheet after the game, but Coach Aldrich and staff, they're not going to mind that one.
A high effort turnover. Litteris came flying in out of nowhere and couldn't quite get his footing underneath him on the way back down. 30 seconds left in the first half. Lancers ahead 32-27. Delaware State on it's probably its final possession of the first half. Perkins drives and he loses the basketball, and it stays at that end. 17 seconds to play in the first half, and it'll be a baseline inbound for Delaware State.
You know, this is a situation where having the big fella in foul trouble is really problematic for the Hornets. It'd be an easy inbounds pass, at least for a touch, if he could keep himself in the game.
10 seconds on the shot clock, 16 to play, so 6-second differential. Delaware State trying to run it down as far as they can. Perkins nearly stole it. Shot clock expires, and they did not get the shot off. So another turnover forced by the Lancers. That's the 10th of the half for Delaware State. And it goes back the other way. So there will be 5.7 seconds for Longwood to try and run their full court buzzer beater play here. Send things to the locker room. Wade will inbound. And another substitution for Griff Aldrich as they'll get Isaiah Wilkins out on the court as well. So Wilkins, Hill, Wade, and Carrium, and Litteris on the floor for Longwood to try and take advantage of the final 6.5 seconds. They inbound to Hill. Across the half-court mark, throws over to the corner. Litteris puts his shot up from the baseline, and he hits! Start off the second half with the basketball. The Hornets and the Lancers, these two teams have faced each other some in recent years. Go back to 2018, the last time that these two teams squared off. The Lancers picked up an 89-73 win here at Willett Hall. Come out with 2 quick points for Delaware State. Balcom got the basket. It's now back to a 5-point game. 3 ball in the air. Wilkins keeps it rolling. He's now got 15.
There's that 2 feet in the paint reverse pivot pass that we talked about at halftime.
Wilkins closing in on a season high in scoring. He's got 15 points already just a minute into the start of the second half. DeMarco Balcom looks underneath for Sodom, and it's tipped away back into the hand of Granlund. Watson got a hand in and forced the turnover. Granlund looked at the 3 and then instead drives and kicks back to Wade. He does the same. Back to the top for Granlund. 3 ball in the air, and it's good. Back-to-back threes to open the second half for Longwood. And they have their largest lead of the day. It's 11 points.
Gorgeous, gorgeous possession for the Lancers. 2 straight triples made. Perfect possessions.
40-29, Longwood leads Delaware State just about 90 seconds into the start of the second half. 3-point answer, Miles Carter gets the drop and helps bring it back a little closer, back to an 8-point game. Carter knocks down the 3-pointer. Back up top for Hill, right side of the lane. He drives and he had it blocked, and a clean block swatted out of bounds. It was Corey Perkins, the freshman out of the Sanford School, who got that block. He played his high school career under Stan Waterman, followed him into the college ranks. Shot clock down to 10. Watson back up top to Wade. Longwood in no hurry on this possession. And then from the elbow, shot too strong by Isaiah Wilkins. And back to Delaware State.
He did miss that, but that's exactly what Longwood wanted. Zone possession for Delaware State, wide open look in the high post.
Griff Aldrich said earlier this year, where the shots weren't falling in some of the early games, if there's one thing he trusts, it is his guys to keep putting up shots and eventually get them to fall. Shot clock for Delaware State is at 5 seconds. shot from Carter, and he knocks it down. So Miles Carter taking over for Delaware State. He's into double figures now this afternoon.
And that's what I think separates him from just a really good guard to a great guard in the MEAC. Second team All-MEAC last season.
Oh, a dunk from Watson. On the baseline feed, Watson slams it home.
Beautiful set play there against the zone for Longwood. But getting back to Carter, he can create just a sliver of space and knock it down in your face. Rare even for college guards.
Granlund gets the block, and ball on the floor, out of bounds. Last touched by Delaware State. Goes to Longwood. Another look at that dunk.
Nice. You see Watson put an exclamation point on that possession. Delaware State, you know, they're throwing defenses at the wall, just seeing what's going to stick. The zone's it's not going to be effective because right now they're giving up quality looks to Longwood. Let's see what they come out in here.
Lancers ahead by 8. It's 42-34. Perkins had a look, decided to pass it instead, and it's tipped around and taken away by Delaware State, and then a foul is called against the Lancers. So Wilkins called for the foul after the turnover. Longwood has outscored Delaware State 8-7 so far to open up this half. Open up a 42-34 lead. Got the lead to 11 a moment ago. That was the largest of the afternoon to this point. 16:30 to play. Lancers lead by 8.
Delaware State running some flex offense here, just a series of predetermined cross screens and down screens, well defended by the Lancers.
Another long possession. Shot clock is down to 2. Shot in the air on, bounces around and falls.
Is that not Carmelo Anthony-like to you? I mean, that's filthy.
Miles Carter, the Philadelphia native, keeps on adding to his scoring. He's got 13 now for this game. Looking underneath, and Carrium spins around, can't get it to fall. Ball drops away, and he was games this season. He might be on his way there again. He has now reached 13 points after a relatively quiet first half. And Carrium underneath, goes back up top. 3 from the corner from Litteris, no good. And it ends up back in the hands of Fergala. 42-36. These two teams have met twice before in their history. Longwood beat Delaware State 69-65 back in 2008 in the 7th place game of the Las Vegas Invitational. And then they met again 2 years ago. Longwood won 89-73. Isaiah Walton led Longwood to that game with 21 points. And Fahim Janetto, who's not been seen today for Delaware State, but he's on the team. He was a big scorer that day for Delaware State. He had a career-high 17 points on 7 of 8 shooting from the floor. Longwood in this meeting, 42-36. Ryan, they were supposed to meet last year out in Winston-Salem. As the shot clock rolls down to 2 seconds, they get the shot off and it falls. And once again, it's Miles Carter.
There's a reason he was second team All-MEAC last season. He's got it cooking right now. Gets it to a one-possession game.
3-point game, 42-39. Delaware State down by a triple. Lead cut in half on that 3-ball. Kicked up in the air, and it ends up back in the hands of Houston. The shot clock rolls down to 8 seconds. Spinning look, falls. Nice shot for Deshaun Wade. Pushes the lead back to 5. Now, these two teams were supposed to square off in Invitational last year in Winston-Salem. The game ended up being canceled because of a positive COVID test. Delaware State side, and point game which tied a career high against UNC Wilmington. Also had a 25-point game, new career high against LIU. He comes in today averaging 17 points per game this season. Once again, the shot clock rolls to single digits. 8 seconds to shoot. Ball back to the hands of Carter as he tries to make something happen, driving against Houston. Carter down the baseline, gives it up. 3 from the corner, no good, off the back of the rim. And the rebound ends up in the hands of Nate Litteris.
Great block out by Litteris.
He's picked up some rebounds this afternoon. Litteris has the ball at the elbow. Back to the corner. Open three look for Houston. And he hits. 6th three ball knocked down this season for D.A. Houston. And the lead is back to 8 for Longwood, 47-39.
8th made 3 on the day for the Lancers, starting to expose that zone even more.
It's 47-39, Longwood in front by 8 with 13:25 to play, and 2 more points back for the Hornets. So now 47-41. 3 from the corner, and it's a little too strong. Ball bounces around into the hands of Fragala, and he leads the charge and then holds back behind the three-point line, waits for some help. 13 minutes to play, Lancers ahead by 6. Delaware State's looking for its 3rd win of the year, looking for its 1st win against the Division I opponent this season. Its 1st true road win in several years. Friendly roll for Balcom as he gets the drop, and it's a 4-point game.
There's Balcom. That's his 3rd face-up bucket of the day. Nice looking offensive possession for the Hornets.
He's got 8 points this afternoon. He's made this once again a 4-point game, 47-43. We're near the under 12 timeout at Willett Hall. Lancers working around the top of the key. Wade kicks it away, and it's taken away. Carter loses his footing as he tried to lay it up, and he falls. So unable to score in transition after the steal. Wade gets the pass from Houston, goes to the other side, a pump fake, and back around again. Lancers have had some looks, opted to back it back out. This is a little slower tempo offense than we usually see from Longwood as Litteris fires one up, no good. Sodom comes down with a rebound.
It's a great point. We talked early about the tempo battle. Looks like Delaware State has it where they're comfortable right now.
Lancers have 4 subs ready to come in at the next timeout, which will also be the under 12 timeout. 47-43. Delaware State still content to take plenty of time off of the clock. They roll the shot clock down to 3. Misses, but Sodom is there to clean it up, and he gets the dunk.
That's what the big fella can do if he can stay in the game. He's so long on that weak side. Pogo stick putback, 2-point game.
A 47-45 lead. A run for Delaware State to bring it back to a 2-point game. Litteris for 3, short, and the rebound falls back down to Houston, so a second chance opportunity. Oh! Longwood team, I'm sure they're glad to have him back after he missed the action on Tuesday.
That's right. You know, at that energy level we talked about, he's only got 15 minutes of playing time, but he answers Sodom's big weak side offensive rebound dunk with a bigger one of his own. 5-point game.
50-45 Longwood with 11 minutes left to play. And Carriewin has scored 13 points a game this year for the Lancers. He's only got 5 today. 3 of them came right there, but a big piece for them to have back in the lineup at all. After he didn't see the floor on Tuesday. He's a little banged up. Lancers force another turnover.
Well, it's a great point, Trey. You know, it gives an opportunity to have more of a formidable defensive force against Sodom. You know, nothing against Zach Watson, but Incarium's got 2-3 solid inches on him and just a little bit wider frame.
Yeah, he's got a good 10 or 15 pounds on him. 3 ball from the corner, hard contact after the shot went up, no foul called. And then a foul is called as the ball was free, bouncing around. It will go against Longwood. Not a lot of whistles for fouls in this half. It is just the 3rd foul against the 2 teams combined in the second half. It's the 3rd foul on D.A. Houston. Houston stays on the floor with 3. It's one big benefit for the Lancers and for Griff Aldrich is that they've got plenty of depth. So not a lot of guys get in foul trouble. You start to worry that there's nobody who can cycle in and do what they're doing.
That's true. And, you know, even within a possession, you're able to switch and throw multiple bodies at somebody like the talented Miles Carter trying to slow him down.
Perkins lost the ball into the hands of Granlund, and he's tripped and goes down around midcourt. So a turnover for Delaware State. That's their 13th turnover of the ball game. And then the foul called, the trip called, going back the other way.
Way to be in the gap there defensively for Granlund, but I'd say that's more of an error on the left-handed freshman point guard for Delaware State. You know, Corey Perkins, great young player, but he went right into the heart of the defense that time without a plan.
And Wilkins goes back up top, and it's off to the hands of Wade and out of bounds. So from one turnover right back into another. And I thought we had moved past those, Ryan. At the beginning of the game, there were a ton of turnovers. These two teams have both cleaned that up. We have the final 10 minutes of the first half, and then so far in the first 10 minutes of the second half. 5-point game, under 10 to play here in Farmville.
Certainly does seem to have some ebbs and flows.
There's Carter trying to make something happen again. He draws the foul, and he's heading to the line.
Early on, you've got to say that he is as advertised. You know, shooting at a high clip. He's proven that he can knock shots down from beyond the arc. Didn't come in shooting a high percentage from three. We've seen his mid-range game all day, Trey, but then being able to manufacture points from the free throw line, that's truly a three-level scorer.
And he's an 84% free throw shooter. That is a rare miss. 16 of 19 on the year heading into play today. And this is the first foul shot. Leading scorer last year for Delaware State at 15 a game, and he missed them both. Rare misses from the stripe.
Naturally, we jinx him.
That was his first two free throw attempts of the day. And again, an 84% free throw shooter, and left alone, Zach Watson goes the baseline for two.
That's Watson's second bucket from what we call the dunker spot. You're behind that back line of the zone. One dunk, one putback, 7-point game.
Back to 7, the lead for Longwood. 9 minutes to play, and Hill gets a hand and tips it away. He's off and running. Lays it up and in. 9-point lead for Longwood. Justin Hill gets 2. The preseason All Big South selection. This is his 3rd and 4th points of the afternoon. Ball tipped around and comes back down to Wade. Again, Carter trying to do a whole lot there, and he ends up turning it over back the other way. Wilkins lays it in. 35, 8.5 minutes left. Saturday basketball at Willett Hall. From the corner, 3 ball in the air, and good, and that stops the bleeding a bit. It's Dominic Fergala, the junior out of Chantilly, Virginia, finds 3 points.
What a big momentum 3 there to get it to 3 possessions right out of the timeout.
Dominic Fergala scored 922 points in his senior season up in Northern Virginia as Incarium comes in, tries to block. This time he gets it sent away. Incarium spins underneath, blocked again, back-to-back blocks for the 7'3" center Sodom. 3 ball from the corner as the clock expires. Miss, but there's Incarium, gets the offensive rebound, and it's a second possession for Longwood. Wade, another try from 3, and this time he doesn't miss. Back to a double-digit lead.
Just a winning play all around, and Incarium simply would not stop. Got a tip out, next one pass leads to the Lancers being up by 11.
And a lot of contact underneath. Foul is called against Longwood. Those 2 players hit the deck and will stay with Delaware State. 7. Delaware State throws it away. Wade picks it up at the other end. Houston back up top and then tips back away. Nice steal taken away by Delaware State. And then the dunk missed by Kyrie Staten, and he's a bit shaken up after he falls down to the floor. Tried to slam it down. Kyrie Staten, the 6'1" guard. And a foul called against Justin Hill for Longwood. Get another look at that. He tried to do a 2-hand slam, and he just came up a bit short. And then Hill got tangled up underneath him and called for the foul with a little bit of contact.
Still extremely athletic to get up there and try. His team definitely needed the points, though.
Trying to get some energy shifted over to his team's momentum as they're down by 11 points. Hill nearly got the steal. Instead, Perkins drives, kicks underneath for Sodom, loses the basketball for a moment. Loose ball comes into the hands of Watson. In the right place, the right time a few times today. Wide open for 3, and good, plus the foul.
And you look who was out there on the late flyby. for the foul. Now that corner three, fifth-year player, Jordan Perkins, you should be able to knock that down 6, 7 out of 10 times. He comes through for the Lancers here.
He's been very selective today about the threes that he's taken. He's had some looks that he hasn't put up. You know, in the season, he's only shot, coming into today, 13 three-point attempts, 4 out of 13. This time he picked a good one. Got a chance for a 4-point play. And he's got it. Perkins extends the lead 63-48 now for Longwood. They're pulling things away here late. Six and a half minutes left. Delaware State trying to slow down this Longwood run that the Lancers have gone on to push the lead to 15 points. Shot clock to 10 for Gallo on the step back shot, no good. And the rebound comes down to Houston. Got some contact from Sodom, but was able to recover and keep the basketball. Litteris, pump fake, drives down the lane, lost the basketball. Nice save on the baseline by Zach Watson, keeps the possession alive. Shot clock still at 13, no reset, never got to the rim. The shot clock rolls under 10. Hill calling out the offense at the top. 3 seconds to shoot. Perkins has the ball, steps back at the elbow and misses. Watson nearly got the rebound, but got some contact, and it rattles away to Delaware State. 5.5 to play, 63-48 Longwood. Carter tied up underneath, throws it away. Hill's got the steal. One-on-one back the other way. Hill drops it in. Justin Hill's got 6.
So many self-inflicted wounds, both sides, but loading up more for Delaware State, these live ball turnovers. Delaware State needs something quick, and they've got to rally here to get back in this thing with 5 minutes left.
Turnovers been piling up lately, 17 now in the game for Delaware State. Watson whistled for a foul, and Longwood once again has got 4 subs getting ready to come in. Griff Aldrich just has a nice deep bench to keep turning it over, bringing out fresh legs. So he has Wade and Carrium, Wilkins, and Granlund checking back into the game. Delaware State inbounds to Perkins to set up the offense. It's a 65-48 lead. Longwood has its biggest advantage this afternoon. 3 ball in the air, off the mark. Fragala has been putting it up when it gets to his hands the last couple possessions.
And those long rebounds more easily secured by Longwood with their link. Granlund at 6'6" just goes and gets that thing with 2 hands.
Perkins down the lane, kicks back up top for Granlund. Wilkins, who's had the big day, leading all scorers, gives it up. Shot clock rolling down to 7, but it doesn't matter. Ball thrown out of bounds, and another turnover for Longwood. 4:36 to play, 65-48. Lancers lead over the Hornets. Big possession for Delaware State, trying to keep this thing from getting too far out of reach as the clock begins to roll down. The final 5 minutes. 3-pointer from the corner. That's a big shot for Balcom.
Certainly is. They needed that. Now they need a stop and a score before the next media timeout. Let's see what the Lancers can do offensively.
Closes things back to a 14-point game. And Carrier has the ball on the floor. Hands off to Wilkins. Left hand missed. And the rebound comes down to, that's Sodom again. And the crowd calling for a travel. So he got bumped. He's so tall, it's hard to tell. He moves laterally a lot further than most of us at normal heights do.
He sure does.
3-pointer deep in the air off the back of the rim, no good for Carter. And the Lancers have the ball in the hands of their 5th-year grad transfer, Jordan Perkins. Back of the.
It's up to 16.
Chance to make it 17. And he left it a little short. So in Carrium, again, limited minutes today, but he's got 7 points and a couple of highlight reel dunks. 67-51, 3.5 to play. Really lost the ball again. Sodom going underneath. He throws it down, but not before committing an offensive foul, and that is his 5th. That's the end of the day for Chris Sodom, the 7'3" center for Delaware State.
That is his 5th foul. It is the team's 5th.
And Sodom fouls out. 6 points and 11 rebounds this afternoon for Sodom.
You know, I'll go out on a limb and say that young man will play basketball for a paycheck somewhere in the world. He has some nice things to his game. A feathery touch, preparing for this game on film, out to about 12 feet. You know, he came in today, the double-digit rebounds, obviously 3 blocks, averages over 2 blocks, and he'd have more, like we talked about, if he could just play more. But that's definitely a player to watch in the MEAC.
Yeah, he had a good day this afternoon, but he's gone with 5 fouls with 3:25 to play. Seems like he moves well, especially for being that height. Some 7-footers, a little bit of trouble getting up and down the floor and moving around. Under 3.5 minutes to play. Granland's got to look for 3, and he hits 70-51. Jesper Granlund, the 6'6" forward, gets the 3-ball to fall. And Longwood has its largest lead of the day, now ahead by 19. Ball knocked down, nice steal by Wilkins. And the Lancers are off on the break, have numbers. Kicked back for Wade, 3-ball off the mark. And several players trying for that rebound, but Balcom stays strong and takes it away. Delaware State trying to answer, and shoveled up and in by Staten.
Beautiful pass for the freshman point guard, Corey Perkins. He is a lefty. It was a left-handed pass, but
out of bounds, stays with Longwood.
3/4 lengths of the court in stride for the layup. They're still down by 17, but we're seeing some beautiful basketball on both ends. Isaiah Wilkins, the possession before, leading the break, gets into the paint, finds Deshaun Wade for an open 3. Didn't go down, but Longwood's looking to take and make good shots the remainder of the game here.
They have a 17-point lead, 2.5 minutes to play. Hill, nice moves, goes to the basket, gets it and drop. Put that one on the highlight reel as well. Justin Hill. Back to a 19-point lead, 72-53. Lancers have stretched it out down the stretch this afternoon, and a turnover. Carter's foot was on the sideline.
And there it is, Trey, just like the moving screen. Every game that I've watched on TV, studied and prepped for other games, there's at least one violation on the sideline where somebody's stepping out of bounds, and there's at least one moving screen. Here you see the freshman point guard going one-on-one.
Yeah, his heel was in front of the courtside seats here on the near side of the court. So a chance for Longwood to pad its largest lead of the day with 2 minutes left. Lancers appear to be on their way to 5-4. They've got this week off, some exams to be taken before a matchup this coming weekend. Underneath Watson, left hand lays it in. The Lancers will face Morgan State on Saturday here at Willett Hall. The Hornets, they're going to keep things right here in the Commonwealth. Ball rolls off, no good, and a travel as Granlund trying to drop it home. Dominic Fragala for Delaware State, playing in his home state, missed that try. I mentioned earlier, he had 922 points as a senior, which is the 3rd most in the history of high school basketball in Virginia at the time. He had a 63-point game in high school. You know that 922 points that he scored, just ahead on that list, 1974 at Petersburg High School, none other than Moses Malone.
He could play a little bit, couldn't he?
Found his way into the Hall of Fame. Things worked out for him. Stolen away by Trey Hicks. Takes it himself and he throws it down. Goes the distance. Gets the steal and the dunk. 76-53 Longwood.
He was off the bench, but he wasn't cold. That's white hot.
Now the home crowd cheering for him on that dunk, and then a 3-ball from the corner falls. That's Avery Richardson who just checked in, as these two teams have brought in some players off the bench. Longwood has emptied out the bench. 1 minute to play. It's a 20-point game.
You gotta love the aggressiveness of the freshman going up for a 2-handed dunk after sitting all day.
Now Trey Hicks, the 6'8" forward out of Louisville, picks up a pair of points there. 40 seconds left. It's a 20-point game. Delaware State trims it back a couple points. The jumper by Balcom. 76-58. So Delaware State will stay here in the Commonwealth. They will head over to Lynchburg. Their next game comes up against Liberty on Monday at 7 o'clock. Face the Flames in their new arena. Free ball from the corner, too strong. Hicks is there, puts it up and in. And Trey Hicks has 4 points. New career high for the freshman.
Got to be great for his confidence heading into exams.
Final possession of the ball game, Delaware State has Fergala at the top of the key with final 5 seconds left, and they seem content to just dribble this one out. Lancers